Hello guys, welcome to Knowledge and Life. My name is Mecogee Enwere. Today our topic of focus is thought and action. Thought is the process of analyzing potential actions and their consequences. While action, on the other hand, is the representation of signals and acts and impulses that affect the world around us. Just so that you know, action could be reactional or it could be proactional. So when an action is reactional is when you're acting as a result of the circumstance around you, the situation around you, the feedback, the energy you receive. It is proaction when you're doing that in anticipation of what is to come. Sometimes you think before you act. Some other times you don't have the time to think, you just act and then you think later. However, in most situations of human existence, you have the time to think. Some, however, you do not have the time to think. You just act and then you think later. And the two scenarios I will play out here is someone who is about to cross the road. When you're about to cross the road and you're in the middle of the road, you find yourself to be in the middle of the road and suddenly you hear a hoot of probably a car coming your way. You don't have to think whether to move back or to move forward. You just move forward. You move, leave the danger zone, and then you begin to think, oh, what happened? You know, what I did right or I didn't do wrong, or maybe I pushed someone off the road or whatever. But when you are at the walkway and you're about to cross the road, then you have that ample opportunity because you're not in the danger zone to think, should I cross now or should I not cross? Or should I look this way or that way before I cross? So these are different scenarios of thoughts and actions. Now, there are some certain actions we must take. We must think before we act. For instance, in an election, you don't just go act, you don't just go vote. You think before you vote. You also think, on the other hand, before you go and contest for an election. You don't just say, oh man, I think it's my time to rule this country. No, I'm just going to contest and I'm going to rule and everything's going to be nice and all of that. First and foremost, you think, what am I going to bring to the table? What is this going to do for me? Is this worth it? Is it worth all the stress? What am I going to do different from all the other leaders that have led? I think most of the quest of the Nigerian leadership to want to hold power and to rule the country is born out of ego. They just want to say, I achieved this, add this to my resume. I was the former president of Nigeria. I have reached to the highest level of the politics of things and the economics of things, if you may say. But I think it should be more than that. And this, on the other hand, goes to the voters, the citizenry, whom are most of the time the ones crying out and complaining. To be a patriotic citizen is not just to sing the praises of the government in power, but it's also to take actions or take a stance that is for the overall good of such country. It could be any country. So this is one thing every voter in Nigeria must know before the vote come February 25th, 2023. You need to understand what is at stake. Many Nigerians do not know. They just want to support somebody because somebody have helped them in the past, or they just want to support this person because this person seems to be the popular candidate, or they just want to support this person because this person is their tribal man or their religious man. But what you must know is that those who rule an entity, a country, are at the level of principles. That is when someone say, this is my principle. My principle is this, my principle is that. These are principalities and powers. And in case you're in Nigeria and you do not know right now, know this. That principalities and powers are struggling for the soul, very soul of Nigeria. Which of the principalities and powers do you support? Do you pay allegiance to? You know, Nigeria is such a beautiful country that they never say die. The citizenry, they never say die. The positive vibe and the negative vibe are all mingled up and they just flow like a seamless stream. In the middle of all of this chaos, the scarcity of the naira notes, the scarcity of petrol, the insecurity crisis, Nigerians still find the effrontery to make jokes at everything that is happening. I mean, wow. And for all those who are contesting the position of presidency, governor, senators, and all of that, I just want to ask you, what are you going to do differently from what has been done in the past? Are you just going to go there and do the same thing other people have done, have not yielded results? Are you going to do everything, or are you going to do anything differently? And then instead of some people to go about singing, this is who I support and this is who I do not support, and making jest of one party candidate over the other, or singing the praises of the other, I think you should focus on the cardinal points. For instance, how many people are willing to ask their candidates to say, we have a huge debt crisis of over 70 trillion. How are you going to deal with this? How are you going to solve it? In a recent moment, elections are being overturned by the judiciary. What even gives you the assurance that the election that INEC and the Nigerian government is spending huge amount of money and the people are preparing, putting in their efforts and everything, is not just going to be overturned by one court somewhere after the results has been declared? We need to really start taking the topic of nation building seriously. Let's not build a country that will benefit us today and will be terrible for our children. People fought for the independence of this country, and today we are the beneficiary of that same country. What country are we going to leave for the generation to come? Or perhaps we do not care. I just want to challenge Nigerians, the biggest black nation in the world, the so-called giant of Africa. Sit back and think. Sometimes people think they think, but they really do not think. They follow routines. Oh, this morning I'm going to take my bath. I'm going to go drop my children in school. I'm going to go to the office, and I'm going to drop a couple of correspondence here and there, and I'm going to go back and take a little break, and then I'm going to go to the other meeting, and I'm going to make sure that in that meeting I take distance and I keep firm to my promise or my principles. And that is not just thinking, that is a routine. It's like a rat race already set out for you and you're just running it. Sometimes pull back and think and meditate. What do you think got the Chinese where they are today? So many Chinese do yoga. They sit back and they meditate and they think. They come to terms with their inner personality, with their inner energy. They get to know themselves. So many people who are running to church every day of the week do not even know themselves. They just profess a whole lot of doctrines that had been handed down to them from one prophet or from one generation to the other. But sometimes they really do not believe those things in-depthly. And that is why when you put them on a scale, the result shows. This is some of the things we talk about on Knowledge and Life. We're trying to impart knowledge. As one of the famous books, the Bible says, people perish because of lack of knowledge. Get knowledge, get life, and make the difference. I remain Michael Mecogee Enwere. See you next time.